HubSpot workflows are the most amazing tools within HubSpot, but also the scariest, because you can do anything you want, but if you set up your automation wrong, it can have a really bad impact on all your business activity. The thing is, there is not that much online resources to understand how it works and to make sure to don't make any mistakes when it comes to use those powerful automations. That's why I'm making this video. Today we are going to dig into every single step of building a workflow together to make sure that you understand all the possibilities and all the risk linked to creating automation in HubSpot. If you discover me through this video, I'm Grégoire. I'm a HubSpot expert for more than 8 years now, and I use this channel to help people using HubSpot in the most optimized way. The first thing to understand is that a workflow is linked to a specific object. It's an automation that will enroll a specific record to do some actions. So you can create a workflow that will enroll contacts or companies or deals or tickets or calls or whatever. Now, basically, you have a workflow type for every kind of object, but it's really important at the beginning to understand what records will be concerned by this automation. When people think about workflows or automation in HubSpot, the first thing we think about is to automatically send some emails to contacts. The good thing is that HubSpot workflows are way more than that, and we'll see that through this video. Basically, the sending part is maybe 10% of what I implement in every HubSpot portal. Most of the time, HubSpot workflows will help us automate some operation process for a company or to do some data management, create information and organizing it through our CRM. Let's see how does that work together by creating a new HubSpot workflow. The first step you need to do is to go under workflow and click on create a new workflow from scratch. So you choose the object that corresponds to what you want to do and you click on next, and it's on that page that people start to get scared. The first thing you need to do when creating a new HubSpot workflow is to give it a name, because if you don't, you will have a lot of unnamed workflows that will be turned on and you will not be able to see directly which one does what. So we give it a name. This is a template to explain how workflows work. Of course, you will give it the name of what it will do, but because on this video we will see all the different possibilities, it will not do anything. And you click on save. And then the second thing you need to take care of is who is going to enter this automation, what will make this specific contact enter in this workflow, what will make this contact leave this workflow, and what will stop this contact from entering in this workflow. It's called the enrollment rules, and all the enrollment rules are dealt within this box. When you click on it, you have 3 different categories. Enrollment is what will make a specific contact enter in this workflow. And enrollment is what will make a specific contact leave this workflow, get unenrolled, and re-enrollment will simply define if a contact, in this case a contact, can enter several times in the same workflow. Basically, if he reaches the criteria of enrollment a second time, will he go back to the workflow, or because he did it once, we don't want it to do it. So let's focus on the enrollment part, which is the first thing you need to deal with. You have different ways to enroll a specific contact in a contact workflow. First, you can choose when an event occurs. So by clicking on that, you will see all the different events. I think the most famous one is when a lead fills a specific form. It could be all form submission, or you can create more precise criteria to make sure only specific leads go to this workflow. So by clicking on add criteria, you will be able to choose a specific form you want to trigger. So let's say meeting links Grégoire. When someone will fill the meeting link form, he will get enrolled in this workflow. You save, and now you have your first enrollment trigger. You can refine who's going to enter this workflow even though they are complete this form submission. For instance, I want to trigger this automation only for leads that fill this form but are from friends. I can add this criteria here and say it needs to be country region equal to France. So that way I manage to really get precise in terms of who's going to be in this workflow based on an event. But you have 2 other ways to enroll people in a workflow. You have based on the schedules, like every day at 8 AM, and then you put the filters, like my French leads will receive a good morning. Or you have the when filter criteria is met, and basically we skip the event occurs and we just focus on the criteria. So let's say I want to enroll all the French leads that have been created more than 1 day ago. And by saving so, now all the leads that will be considered as French and that have been created in my portal more than 1 day ago, they will get enrolled in this specific workflow. So now we saw how to enroll contacts, but we need to see how to unenroll contacts, because maybe within those fresh leads, I don't want some of them to get enrolled on this contact, or if they reach a specific status, I don't want them to continue their path through this automation. So you just need to click again on that box, and this time we will focus on an enrollment. So either you have a list of leads that you want to exclude for this automation. So for instance, I have a communication exclusion list. I don't want them to be part of this workflow no matter what. By setting that, even if they are French and they are created more than 1 day ago, they will not be part of this automation. And you can also define some specific goal. So let's say I want as a goal to say that if a lead is a client, I don't want him to be part of this workflow. So I will choose contact property. I will choose my lifecycle stage property that defines the stage of my specific lead, and I will choose customer. So basically, when I apply this filter and I save it, if a lead becomes a customer, he will never be able to go to this workflow. If a lead is in this workflow and while being in this workflow, he becomes a customer, he will just leave the workflow and he will not continue his path. And as I said, we have re-enrollment to decide if a lead matches those criteria again, will he get re-enrolled or not. If you want people to constantly get enrolled in this workflow, you click on off and it becomes on. And here you will be able to select the different property that could be concerned by a re-enrollment. So it's really important to understand exactly who's going to go to your workflow, who's not going to go to your workflow, and how many times a lead can go to your workflow. Once you're happy about your enrollment, unenrollment, and re-enrollment rules, we can start to think about how does the automation path works. So our next step for understanding workflows perfectly is to understand what different modules or action we can put in our automation. So to do so, you just need to click on the first plus to start building your automation. And by clicking on it, you will find 3 main parts. The first part is all the different actions that will define the path of a specific contact in your automation. You can find 4 of them. We have the delay that will make a record wait until a specific event or specific amount of time. You have the branch that will help us to segment our database and to divide, like, okay, this part of our contacts go to this path A and this other part go to this path B based on different criteria we will set up. You have the go-to workflow. It's like if this contact arrives to this specific path of your automation, it will get enrolled in another automation, another workflow. And go to action is simply when you have different branches to say at the end of branch B, you can make them go back to a specific action of branch A. No worries, we will go through them one by one. So the first option we have is the delay. So you can click on it and you can select the kind of delay you want. You can make them wait until a specific date. For instance, if they get enrolled no matter when, they will wait in this specific box you see here until the 21st of March 2023, or until a date property. Let's say you have a property saying next meeting date with this lead is in April 3rd, 2025. You will be able to make him wait until the date of this specific property value arrive. So for instance, we can click on it and say, I want to make him wait until the date he become a MQL. You choose on date, or 3 days before the date, or 3 days after the date. In this specific case, you can't guess when it will be because the date is generated at the moment he becomes an MQL. But let's say I want him to wait 3 days after being considered as a MQL from HubSpot. So you can do that and you can click on save. That way, the contact gets enrolled 1 day after he got created, and you will wait 3 days after he becomes an MQL. Another option is to click on delay and to choose an event occurs. Like you will wait until he visits this specific web page of your website. So you can do that as well. So we go back to all the different event HubSpot proposals, such as the form submissions, the click in email, meeting booked, etc., etc. You can wait until this specific event happens, but you can also wait for a set amount of time. Let's say, no matter what, if he arrives here, I want him to wait 5 minutes or 5 days. It helps you really time all your automation to make sure a lead will get in the good action at the perfect moment. For instance, if you have 2 workflows starting at the same time and you need to have the result of one workflow to continue the second workflow, you can say, I want my lead to wait 5 minutes, and you make sure within these 5 minutes that the first workflow will get finished before continuing the next session for this workflow. You can also wait for a day of the week, let's say Monday, for instance, you want them to receive a have a great week email. You can make sure they receive it the next Monday, they will arrive in that box. Or a specific time of a day is the same thing, but instead of choosing a day, you choose an hour. So that's the first thing you can do with workflows. You can simply deal with the time management. The second thing is the most important, according to me, it's the branch. Basically, you can set up different paths based on specific criteria. You have 3 different ways of defining those branches. The random distribution by percentage is the most easy to understand. You click, you save, and you have 50% of the lead that will go on the left and 50% of the lead that will go on the right. Of course, you can add more branch to make it like 25%. Is the most basic way to separate 2 paths, but you have no control on it as it's a random choice. The second way of dividing your workflow into different paths is to choose a different result of a specific property. So we mentioned the lifecycle stage property. We know that the lifecycle stage property is divided into defined values, and you can choose this property and click on create a separate branch for each value in this property. You click on next and you save. Now what happens? All the different value of the property lifecycle stage end up in a different path, which means that we have our leads coming in, and if his lifecycle stage is subscriber, he will follow this path. If his lead, this path, marketing qualified leads, this path, sales qualified leads, this path, etc., etc. So that's if you want to create different outcomes based on all the different values of a specific property, that's the branch you should use. But the most used one, because it's the most flexible one, is the last one, is the and or logic. Basically, you will be able to really shape all the criteria of each branch really precisely. So let's say we have like French lead and we want to treat the leads from Paris differently from the rest of the cities of France. You can create a name it like Paris leads, and add a criteria. And that's how you create criteria for reporting or for list. Actually, is the same thing. You will choose the contact properties name city, and you will see if city is equal to Paris, then leads will go to branch Paris leads. You can create a second one. Let's say this one is for Lyon, another French city, and you will modify the city here, and you will say is equal to Lyon, then it will go to the branch number 2. And you always have a non-met branch name that will get all the leads that don't match the first or the second branch. You save, and it will be really visual about what you will have. Now we have French leads that arrive here, and we will check if they come from Paris. If yes, they go here. If they come from Lyon, they go here. And if they don't come from these 2 cities, they will go to the non-met branch. Now, this is the first thing you need to take care of, is the logic of those branch. HubSpot is really straightforward. It will just go from the top to the bottom and from the left to the right. So basically, it will not check at the same time if it comes from Paris or Lyon or something else. It will first check if the leads come from Paris. Then if it does not, it will then check if the lead comes from Lyon, and if it does not, then it will put it there. For this example of city, it doesn't matter because you can only have one city. But now think about a property that can have different values. Let's say you have a property named lead magnet, and you track all the lead magnet that a specific record download on your website. You have lead magnet A, B, and C. You create a branch that say if you download lead magnet A, you go here. If he downloaded lead magnet B, he go here, and if he downloaded lead magnet C, he goes here. The thing is, if this lead download lead magnet A and B, he will only go to the first branch because, as I said, he will first check the first option before going to the second one. So it's something you need to take into account when creating automation. He will always go with the first option that match his criteria. So now we saw the delay and the branches. We still need to see the go-to workflow and go-to actions. So let's create a fake delay for Paris. Let's say we need him to wait 1 day, and we can play with these 2 last options. Let's say that if you come to Paris, we want to make him wait 1 day and then send an in-app notification for our team. Let's say we send that to Greg. This lead just arrived, and we save. It's just an example to show you the go-to action plan. Now, if it's a Lyon lead, we don't want him to wait 1 day, but we want to receive this notification instantly. So you just need to click on plus, and you will be able to click on go to action. And basically, go to action, you will be able to go to all the different actions from another branch but you will not be able to go backwards, so you can't create infinite loops. If you really want to create infinite loops, I published a video showing you how to do so, but be careful, it's really dangerous to create infinite automation on a software. So you can say, for the Lyon lead, I don't want them to wait one day like Paris, I want them to directly receive this in-app notification. So now what will happen? If it's a French lead, he gets enrolled, is from Lyon, and automatically, when it got identified as a Lyon lead, it will directly go to this specific action. This example doesn't make sense, but of course, with all the different actions that we will see later on, you will be able to create way more interesting stuff. And let's say that our leads that are not from Paris and Lyon, we want to make them enroll in another workflow. You can create on plus, click on go to workflow, and you will be able to choose the workflow. Let's say bad workflow. It's a test account, so it doesn't matter, but all these non-Parisian or Lyon leads will go to another workflow. So with all this example, we saw all the different action of workflows that can influence the path of a specific lead. Now, if we can only make them go from one branch to another or wait for a few days and we can't do anything else, it will be a bit limited in terms of automation. So I propose you to see right now the different options that HubSpot let us automate. So if you remember at the beginning of this video, I told you that workflows are not only for sending automated emails, and that's exactly what we are going to see right now. When you want to add a specific action, you just need to click on the plus at the moment you want to put this action. So it's what we did for this send in-app notification, but we want to add something more at that moment. So you just click on plus and you will discover two different parts: HubSpot, like native action that HubSpot proposes you to do, and the action that integrated apps allow you to do within HubSpot. So for instance, we have Qualify, which is a third-party app tool that allows you to merge duplicates in your HubSpot portal. It's not the topic of this video, but if you're interested about it, I published another video explaining how to use this tool for free. So today we'll just focus on those 4 different HubSpot categories, and we see that we have communication. So they are the famous send an email, but we also have CRM to play with data, marketing to deal with lists or marketing status or as audience, etc. And we have data ops that you will only benefit if you have an enterprise plan that will allow you to have a really expert and complex automation based on like code, scripts and stuff. And as those options are really specific and really complex, we'll not talk about them in this video, but I'm pretty sure that if you have access to this kind of tool, you should be pretty good with HubSpot workflows already. So let's focus on those 3 different categories of action that HubSpot allow us to play with. The most important part for me is the CRM action, because as we said, it's not just to send emails, but we will be able to manipulate data, create data or delete data directly within our HubSpot portal through automation. So when you click on CRM, you will see all the different possibilities you have. You can delete this contact, for instance. So let's say we want to keep only Paris lead and Lyon lead. We can delete this go to workflow action, and we can just say, you know what, if it's not from Paris or Lyon, I don't care about this lead, I want to delete it. So you just click on delete the enrolled contact. You save, and that way, if the lead is not from these 2 cities, it will automatically delete and you will have no mark of this lead in your CRM anymore. It's an example, please don't do it. It's better to qualify your good leads and disqualify your bad leads rather than delete things, because we want to keep the most data we can within our CRM. You can also do other actions such as create association. So you can use this to associate this specific contact to another company or to a specific deal, for instance. You can create a deal or a company based on that record. So for instance, this lead arrived in our CRM, he comes from Paris. I want to create a deal, an opportunity to start tracking opportunity with this specific lead. So you can just click on create record. You can say, I want to create a deal. I want to assign it to the owner of the contacts. I will call it like Paris opportunity, and I will put his first name and last name so I can know which one it is, and I can enter a deal pipeline and stage. So I want to say he go to the qualified to buy stage of my pipeline. You can also add more properties from this contact to the deal, but it's getting a bit more complex and is not the point of this video. So you can click on save, and at that point, every time a lead will arrive, be considered as Parisian, we will receive a notification that a lead just arrived, and a opportunity, a deal will be created within our pipeline with this lead attached and associated to this specific opportunity. But one thing I really like is to be able to modify the property values within this specific record. So for instance, I want to make sure like if the lead is from Paris and we create an opportunity, he become a MQL. So we will change his lifecycle stage directly within this workflow to make sure all the leads that go through this specific path become MQL, and it's easy for us to track the different lifecycle lifecycle stage of our database. We just need to click on plus, and we will need to click on edit records. And by edit records, you will be able to edit the contacts involved in this workflow, but you will be able to also edit the associated company of that records or the associated deal that we just created, for instance. But in that case, we want to simply modify a contact property. So we go back and we choose the current object contact. And the property to edit will be the lifecycle stage. And I want to say, if you go here, it becomes a MQL. You can also use this edit record to just clear the value of this specific property if you don't want to add, but you just want to clean database. In that case, we want to make him a MQL. So we choose MQL and we click on save. And now this go to action makes way more sense, because just making wait one day doesn't make sense. But imagine you want to consider that lead as a MQL, but not creating a Paris opportunity, because you don't want to create opportunity for Lyon leads, let's say. You can just go back and make him skip all those different steps and simply qualifying him as a marketing qualified lead. So basically, it's some example of what you can do with the CRM actions of HubSpot. If you go back to plus, we can list them, so you can apply association labels. So let's say if this lead enter, it will be the primary contact of his associated companies or any label that you would have created beforehand. You can copy a property value of his company to one of the contact property. You can create association, so link two objects together. You can create a knot that will show in his record. You can create a record with it. We can create a task saying like, this lead just arrived, we need to call him within 3 days. We can delete this contact, we can edit the records, and you can like increase or decrease the property value. Let's say number of times this lead fill this specific form, +1 every time it goes to this specific step of the workflow. And you have more advanced options as well that you can discover by simply playing around beforehand. One really important action is the manage communication subscriptions, but we will see that right after when it comes to sending our emails with HubSpot workflows. So now that we saw the CRM action, it's time for us to see the communication actions. And even for communication, it's not simply sending emails. Yes, you have the send email to the contact, which is a major communication action, but you have other actions as well. You have the enroll in a sequence. If you're using sales sequences and you have, I think is Sales Hub Pro or Sales Hub Enterprise, you will be able to automatically trigger those sequences with this specific action. You have the send email to send an automated email. You have a send in-app notification that we did beforehand with this lead come from Paris. This app will just show up in all the concerned user of your HubSpot portal. So it's a communication you send to your team. You have send internal email notification, same as in-app notification, but you receive it in your email box as a user of the portal concerned by this specific news. You can send internal marketing emails. So marketing emails are normally supposed to get sent to your contact database, but they let you the possibility weirdly to send internal marketing email. To be 100% honest, I never used it. You can even send WhatsApp message, or you can unenroll, like you enroll a lead from a specific sales sequence. So let's show an example of sending internal email notification. We just say, I wanted to send it to Greg and say, this lead has arrived and is a MQL. And I say, please check that lead on HubSpot. And automatically I will receive a HubSpot mail, say with the topic, this lead has arrived and is a MQL, plus this body message. You got it. This specific email doesn't make sense, but you can create this whole process of notifying your teams with emails. And the action that everyone is waiting for is to send an actual marketing email to our contact. So you just need to click on plus, go to communication, and you will find this send email. Click on it and you just need to choose the email you would have created beforehand in your marketing email editor. You click on save, and normally if a lead goes through this path at some point, it should receive this send email. And that's another thing you need to take care of, is that if you don't do the prerequisite actions beforehand, your leads will not receive your email. Why? Because to receive an email in HubSpot, a contact needs to fill two conditions. First, it should be a marketing contact and not only a contact. I made a full video on how to manage your marketing contact, but to put it in a nutshell, HubSpot will let you communicate with marketing assets to your contacts only if they are tagged as marketing contacts. You have a limit of number of marketing contacts you can have at the same time for a month, so you need to tag the lead you want to communicate within this month as marketing contact. Fortunately, you can tag a contact as marketing contact with automation. So it's not the good practice. Normally, you will create a workflow to define marketing contact and non-marketing contact in your database. But for this example, I will just show you the action of setting the marketing contact status as on for a specific contact. And this option is part of the last block of action HubSpot proposes, is the marketing block. So click here and you will see here, set marketing contact status. So you absolutely need to make it marketing contacts before sending this email. And even though you do that, your leads might not receive your email because every email is linked to a subscription type. Normally is marketing information, but your contacts need to opt in to the specific communication list to be able to receive your email. So normally when you create a HubSpot form, you need to make them opt in to this specific communication subscription. Let's say you want to automate the opt-in of a lead in HubSpot. Once again, it's not good to do it. You need to explicitly tell them that they will get enrolled if they click on that button. But if you want to deal it within your HubSpot automation, you can make sure you make them opt in to this specific subscription list corresponding to this specific email. You click on plus and you will see the thing I mentioned earlier about, which is manage communication subscriptions. You will be able to make him opt in to the specific marketing email, marketing information that correspond to this specific email. Of course, you need to give legal basis for communicating with contact. So it could be a legitimate interest because it's a lead, and you will say he fills a form asking for receiving information. And here you will be able to explain the communication consent. So I'm not a lawyer and I tell you, you should not use that. You should make it clear at the beginning when someone fills a form so they can receive your communication. But let's say it's a lead you met in an exhibition and he told you verbally, oh yeah, I really want to receive your sample email. You can say met at an expo and he verbally gave us the authorization of sending marketing emails. Once you set up all those different fields, you click on save, and now you make sure that this lead will be able to receive this email because it will be tagged as a marketing contact and it will be enrolled in this subscription type marketing email, marketing information. Once again, be really careful with that. It's a matter of data privacy and communication preferences. Make sure you deal with it on a form-based and not on a workflow-based. But that's how you can send an email within automation in HubSpot. To make it fast, we also have more action within marketing. So you can define the marketing contact status and you can also add them, remove them to ads audience, such as Facebook retargeting or Google ads. And same thing for lists. You can add them to static list or remove them from static lists. So basically, we saw all the basic actions and way of manipulating the automations in HubSpot. Now that we discovered all the different actions that HubSpot proposes us natively, the last thing we need to do is to test this workflow and to turn it on. To test it, the best way you can do is click on test here and choose a specific lead. So you have Brian from HubSpot, we can choose and you will see how far it will go to the process and which path it will take. So if you enroll, all the different lines will be in green and you will see he's from France, he arrived here, he's from Lyon, he go to this part, he get updated, he receives a good email, etc, etc. You will be able to test with different records if the workflow works as expected. Of course, it's a test account with bad and with fake data here, so we can't really test it, but that's the way to do when you want to start an automation. And the last thing we need to do is to turn our workflow on. So the first thing you need to do is to click on review and they will show you all the things that need to be changed before turning your workflow on. Here we have the send in-app notification that have one issue. So you click on it, it will open here and they say we don't have a body message, so they don't let us. So please call that lead and we save, and normally we fix the only issue of our workflow. So we can just click on review and publish. And here, that's the last trick you should take care of, is the enrollment rule. Do you want all the leads that match those enrollment contact at that moment of your database to get enrolled, like retroactive enrollment? So for instance, in this case, all the French leads that have been created more than 1 day ago. So basically all the French leads of your database, do you want them to get concerned by this automation, or do you want this automation to only go trigger for next time this situation will happen? It depends on the situation, of the use case and of the goal of your workflow. If you want retroactivity, you click on yes. If you want to only happen for next time a record match the situation, it doesn't mean for next record that get created, it means for next time a record will match those criteria. So if a lead got created last year and happens to be defined as a French tomorrow it will be get enrolled in this workflow. So if you want retroactivity, click on yes. If you don't want, click on no. And then you will have a good summary of enrollment rule, unenrollment rules, re-enrollment rules. You click on next, you will see the timing and performance. You can make sure it only gets run at specific times. So let's say only weekdays. You can get notified when HubSpot identifies some issues within your workflow. And you can get a notification if you have too many enrollment compared of what you have planned. Then it will tell you all the different assets of HubSpot that will get concerned by this workflow. So we have lists here. You have 1 email or sample emails. You have 8 properties, all the properties that are either a trigger or will be modified with our different actions. And then they will generate a description for your workflow to make sure everyone remember what this automation is supposed to do. You can turn it on, and congratulations, you made your first HubSpot automation. Of course, the automation we just created right now doesn't mean anything and doesn't have any goal. It's just like to show you all the different actions that you can put in place and how they work and the logic behind it. If you want to get ideas about what kind of automation HubSpot can create within workflows, you have 2 options. Even you can like scroll in my YouTube channel. I created a lot of videos showing you tutorials on how to do this specific automation on HubSpot. Or you can click on the description below. I made a free private web page named the Workflow Box, where you can find a lot of different automation I designed within HubSpot workflows and the step-by-step action plan to replicate them in your HubSpot portal. I update this page every time I think a new automation deserves your interest, but to give you some ideas, you will be able to automatically qualify your incoming leads in HubSpot. You will be able to manage the lead assignment of your sales rep when those sales reps go to holiday. You will be able to automate your lifecycle management for your leads and your companies. You can also find the most optimized nurturing email sequence workflow, like a lot of different automation that will help you get better and better at using automation in HubSpot. I hope this video was clear enough. It was a long run and I hope I didn't miss anything. If you have any question concerning workflows, don't hesitate to drop a comment below. If not, don't forget to put a thumbs up and to subscribe to this channel. I post long format of videos every week to help people use HubSpot in the most optimized way, and I post daily news about new updates that got released in HubSpot in the short format. It was Greg. I wish you a great week and see you next Wednesday.